The pot was light, too light for a hungry house. Obi, the elder brother, slammed the lid and frowned at the last yam like it had insulted him. "This is all we have," he said, voice hard. "No more begging from neighbors. No more church giving. If the church wants food, let it cook for itself." Mother Nkem stood by the hearth with her hands folded, not speaking. The glow from the charcoal made her face look tired but gentle. Her cough was soft, the kind of cough that tries to hide. Amara, the younger child, stirred the fire and looked at the shadows on the wall. She felt anger rise, then fall. Anger was a fast flame. It burned bright and died fast. She needed slow heat. Obi lifted the yam, cut it into thin pieces, and counted each slice like a coin. "2 for me, 1 for Mother, 1 for Amara," he said. "That is fair." "Fair is not always right," Mother Nkem said, quiet but clear. "We share by need, not noise." Obi laughed without joy. "Need? We need money. We need respect. I will not look small in this village. My friends must see me strong." He dropped the knife. The blade clicked on the board, sharp in the silence. Amara bowed her head and whispered a prayer so soft it almost disappeared. "Lord, fill our empty pot with wisdom. Show me a door." She watched the little sparks climb the air like tiny prayers with wings. Outside, the chapel bell rang once, twice. The sound rolled over the roofs and fields like a hand smoothing cloth. Amara felt her heart steady. She would not fight with shouts. She would find another way. Obi turned toward the door. "I'm going out," he said. "Do not wait up. Do not light the lamp too long. Kerosene is not free." He left, and the night carried him away. Amara placed a thin slice of yam on her mother's plate and kept her own piece smaller. Mother Nkem shook her head, but Amara smiled and pushed the plate forward. "Eat, Mama. I am full of ideas." In the darkness, a single promise formed in her mind, simple and strong. "If I cannot grow a harvest in the yard, I will grow a harvest in my hands." And tomorrow, she would start. Before the sun lifted, Obi walked the red road that cut behind the mango grove. He met a man in a clean shirt who held a rolled paper tied with twine. The man smelled like soap and palm oil. "Are you sure your mother agrees?" the man asked. Obi's smile was thin. "My mother trusts me." They stood by the low fence made of old sticks. The land past it was narrow but rich, a strip of soil that drank rain well and gave sweet cassava. The man unrolled the paper. "Sign here," he said. "Payment in 2 parts. First part now. Second part after boundary lines are set." Obi took the pen, glanced behind him, and signed fast. The man counted notes from a brown envelope. Obi slid the money into his shirt as if it were a bird he was hiding. "Keep this quiet," he said. "I do not want noise." "Quiet until we mark the ground," the man agreed. "We will bring pegs next week." When Obi reached home, Mother Nkem was sweeping the yard. "Where did you go so early?" she asked. "To solve our money problem," Obi said. He tossed 2 small notes on the table. "Kerosene and salt. That's all we need today." Mother Nkem watched his eyes. They moved too fast. "And tomorrow?" "Tomorrow I will be a king," he said, grinning. Amara came from the back room holding a small basket. "Mama, I'm going to the market. I'll look for work or trade. Auntie Chioma always needs hands at her stall." Obi snorted. "Work? Your hands are soft. Girls like you drop goods and break them." Amara kept her voice even. "Then I will learn to hold things right." He stepped close, his voice low. "Stay in your place, Amara. Leave the big matters to me." Mother Nkem laid a hand on his arm. "Your place is beside your sister, not over her." Obi pulled away and left again, his steps sharp in the dust. Later that afternoon, as Amara crossed the square, she passed two men measuring a road with string. She heard a few words that struck like cold water: strip behind the mango grove, boundary, sail. Her heart knocked. The grove was their marker, a family line. Amara walked faster, the basket tight in her grip. If a line had been moved in secret, truth would have to move in daylight. The market woke like a choir, metal pans clanged, hens scratched, voices folded over each other: tomato, fresh greens, sweet yam. A bright song under the morning sun. Amara stood at the edge, unsure, holding her empty basket like a question. Ada. Girl. Auntie Chioma waved from her stall, where peppers and onions sat in neat pyramids. She was strong and cheerful, with quick eyes that saw the truth in people. You walk like your feet have stones. What is it? Amara told her only a little. There is trouble at home. I need work. I learn fast. I will sweep, measure, carry, anything. Auntie Chioma looked at her hands. These are gentle hands. But gentle hands can learn strength. She pointed to a small space beside a bag of rice. Stand here. Smile with your eyes. We will start with measuring and change. All morning, Amara weighed peppers, wrapped ties of greens, and counted out coins. She learned to greet softly, to place goods like she was laying a baby down, and to listen when a buyer's voice cracked with worry. When she made a mistake, she fixed it fast, and Auntie Chioma nodded. At noon, Auntie Chioma pulled a stool close. You have steady hands, she said. Do you want more than this? Do you want a skill that will feed you when the market sleeps? Yes, Amara said, her chest warm. Master Okoro mends chairs and weaves mats, Auntie Chioma said. He is rough outside but good inside. Go after closing. Tell him I sent you. Amara's heart rose and fell at once. I have no money for school. Auntie Chioma reached under the table and brought out a small tin with faded flowers. She tapped out a few coins, then added two more. A seed, she said. Not a gift, a small loan. Pay me when your hands start to sing. Amara took the coins with both hands. Thank you. I will not waste this. Do not thank me with words, Auntie Chioma said, smiling. Thank me by coming back tomorrow. As the sun slid lower, Amara felt the square change. The noise softened. The smell of smoke and spice rose like evening prayer. She packed the stall with care, wiped the table, and tied her scarf tight. The path to Master Okoro's shed passed the mango grove. Shadows were long there. She paused, looked at the old fence, and whispered, Lord, keep this line honest. Master Okoro's shed leaned against a giant neem tree. The air smelled like wood dust and palm rope. Inside, chairs with broken legs waited like tired old men. The master himself sat on a low stool, a knife in one hand, a strip of reed in the other. His beard was gray, his voice was gravel. You are late, he said without looking up. I came as soon as the market closed, Amara said. Auntie Chioma sent me. He raised his eyes. They were not unkind. Ah. Chioma. She does not waste words. He pointed to a basket of reeds. Soak these. Then watch. Amara filled a tin basin and pushed the reeds under. They softened slowly, like hard thoughts turning gentle. Master Okoro picked up a half-woven seat and moved his hands in a pattern. Under over, under over. The rhythm was like a song. Weaving is patient work, he said. If you hurry, it lies. If you press too hard, it snaps. He handed her a chair with a broken seat. Your turn. Her fingers shook at first. She pulled too tight, the reed split. She pressed too soft, the space gaped. Master Okoro grunted. Again. They worked until the sky turned purple. Her fingers burned. Little blisters rose like pebbles under her skin. She swallowed a cry. Good, he said at last, pointing to one neat row. Your hands are learning. Come tomorrow. Bring your mind with you. And oil for your fingers. How much do I owe for the lesson? She asked. He waved a hand. Bring a broom. Sweep my floor. That is payment. Amara smiled. I can do that. As she left, he called after her. Girl. She turned. Yes, sir. Why do you learn this? She did not speak of hunger or secrets. She said the truest short thing she could. To keep my mother's light on. He nodded slowly. Then I will teach you until your hands can weave light. At home, Amara wrapped her fingers in a clean cloth. Mother Nkem warmed water and added salt. Soak, she said, eyes soft. Pain means your hands are building a future. Amara smiled through the sting. Tomorrow they will sing. Saturday brought a big crowd. Drums beat from the far field, traders called, children ran with corn sticks in their hands. Amara stood at Auntie Chioma's corner, weighing peppers, passing change, and smiling with her eyes. Her fingers hurt, but pain had become a teacher, not a master. By noon, a small envelope lay under the table, tied with red thread, Amara's first honest day's earnings. She touched it once and felt warm pride like sunlight on her face. When we close, Auntie Chioma said, count it slow. Then take it home safe. Obi arrived like a storm in a clean shirt. Two young men walked behind him, laughing at nothing. Sister, he cried, fall sweet. So busy. So successful. He clapped loud so people would look. Amara stood straight. Obi, good afternoon. He leaned across the table and tapped the envelope. Family business, he said. Before she could pull it back, he snatched it and lifted it high. My sister is rich. We will pay debts and feed the house. His voice sounded kind. His eyes did not. Obi, Auntie Chioma said, calm but firm. That is not yours. It belongs to the family, he said. I am the head. Mother Nkem had walked to the market slowly to buy salt. She arrived to see the crowd circle. Obina, she said, using his full name. Return what is not yours. Obi smiled without showing teeth. Mother, I am saving us. This girl is foolish. Thieves walk this market. I will carry the money home for her. A few people nodded, unsure. Others looked away. Shame has a smell, it filled the air like smoke. Amara kept her voice steady. Brother, please. That is for medicine and kerosene. He tossed the envelope up and caught it. Then I will buy both, and I will bring the change. Trust me. Trust comes after proof, Auntie Chioma said. Obi's face tightened. He shoved the envelope into his pocket and walked away, his two friends clapping his back. Mother Nkem's eyes were wet but clear. Amara, are you broken? Amara swallowed hard. Bending is not breaking. Auntie Chioma placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You will work, and you will earn again. Your hands remember. That evening, clouds gathered. The wind changed. Amara looked up at the first fat drops of rain and whispered, Lord, keep our roof from leaking. Keep my heart from leaking too. The storm came fast, like a door slammed by the sky. Sheets of rain hit the roofs, and water ran through the alleys like small rivers. Amara had set aside a tiny pile of goods to sell on Sunday, 2 baskets of greens and a little bowl of ground pepper. She covered them with cloth and pushed them under the table. Wind found its way in. The cloth lifted. Water slid across the floor. By morning, the greens were limp and brown, the pepper bowl wet and ruined. It looked like sorrow in a dish. Amara sank to her knees. Her hands fell open. Lord, she said, her voice shaking, am I walking the right road? I am trying. I am trying. Mother Nkem laid a warm hand on her head. A broken morning does not break the day, she whispered. Stand, my daughter. But the blows kept coming. A man arrived to ask for the small debt on their cooking oil. Another came to remind them about water fees. Tomorrow, Amara said. Give me till tomorrow. Mother Nkem coughed. It was a deep cough this time. She pressed a cloth to her mouth and turned away so Amara would not see the red. Amara did see. Her stomach dropped. Fear grabbed her throat like a rough hand. She walked outside, letting the rain soak her hair and clothes. The village looked washed and tired. At the far end, the chapel bell began to ring for the early service. One slow note. Another. Another. It sounded like a strong heart. Amara closed her eyes. I will not stop, she said aloud, letting the rain clean her face. I will not stop. After service, Pastor Jonah stood under the eaves, shaking hands. His voice was warm and plain. Sometimes God opens a big door, he said. Sometimes he gives you a small window, and you must crawl through. Both lead to the same room. Amara nodded, water still dripping from her scarf. I need a window then, Pastor. Speak to the women's circle after the service, he said. They will plan a market push. And go see Master Okoro. Your hands have work to do. Amara walked back in the light rain, each step heavier and then lighter, like the storm was stepping out of her bones. The women's circle met under the big almond tree behind the chapel. Colorful wraps brightened the wet ground. Pots of tea steamed like small clouds. Auntie Chioma led the meeting with a clap and a smile. Sisters, we have work. We will lift our own first, then reach out. Amara sat close, listening. The women spoke one by one, about prices, about the road that needed patching, about thieves in the night. Then Auntie Chioma turned to Amara. Tell us your plan, child. Amara took a breath. I am learning weaving and chair repair from Master Okoro. If I can get reeds and old chairs, I can sell mats and fix seats. I will also help at the stall. I need a small start. How much for reeds? Asked Mama and Duka, who always spoke like she was measuring rice. Amara named a careful number. We can do better, Auntie Chioma said. She turned to the group. Who has old chairs? Who has reed contacts? Hands went up. Voices rose, not with pity but with energy. I have 2 chairs with broken backs. My cousin brings reeds from the river. I can lend a little for nails and glue. Pastor Jonah came by with a bowl of groundnuts. Remember, he said softly, do not give what will break you. Give what will bend you toward your sister. By evening, Amara had a neat list, 3 chairs to repair, a promise of reed at a fair price, and a plan to set a small table near Auntie Chioma's stall to display mats when ready. A girl from the next compound offered to watch the stall for 1 hour each day so Amara could train at the shed without closing the shop. When Amara stood, the circle clapped. Not noisy claps, steady claps, like rain on a good roof. Auntie Chioma pressed 2 extra coins into Amara's palm. For oil for your fingers, she said, winking. At home, Amara wrote a new heading in her little notebook, Mother Money. Under it she drew a small envelope. This is for medicine, she told the page. Only medicine. I will not touch it for anything else. Mother Nkem sat on the mat and smiled, her eyes shining. You are weaving more than chairs, she said. You are weaving a future. Amara leaned her head on her mother's shoulder. We will sit on strong seats soon, Mama. The next morning, the first chair would wobble into Master Okoro's shed, and Amara's hands would learn to sing for real. The first chair came on the head of a boy, his arms long, his feet dusty. He set it down and grinned. My auntie says you fix, he told Master Okoro. We fix, the master said, pointing at Amara. She is my right hand today. Amara sanded the broken edge until it felt like river stone. She cut reed, soaked reed, and pulled it through the frame in patient lines. Under over, under over. The seat grew like a woven song. When her fingers stung, she rubbed oil, then kept going. By noon, the chair stood firm, proud of itself. The boy's aunt came to collect it. She sat, bounced once, and laughed. Ah! Better than new. She paid in small notes and 2 sweet oranges. Amara held the money like a blessing, split it by plan, reed and nails first, a small piece for food, and a fold for the envelope. Back at the house, she took a white envelope from the bottom of her box. On it she wrote in neat letters, "Mother Money." She slid the small notes in and smoothed the paper like it was a cloth on a table. "This is for medicine," she said. "Only medicine." At the market, she set a small mat on a stool by Auntie Chioma's corner. People touched it and nodded. "Straight lines," one woman said. "It will not trip a child," said another. A man ordered 2 doormats. "My wife likes neat floors," he said, smiling. Obi passed by without stopping. He looked once, looked again, then kept walking fast, as if the mats were a mirror he did not want to face. That evening, Amara and Mother Nkem shared rice and thin stew. It tasted like victory. The cough came again, softer this time. Amara watched and counted her breath. "Soon," she whispered. "Soon, Mama." She returned to her notebook and wrote new lines. 2 doormats, deliver Friday. Repair chair, Saturday. Buy cough syrup, Sunday. She drew a small box beside each task. Boxes were made to be checked. Outside, the chapel bell rang. Its sound braided with the evening insects. The house felt stronger, like someone had tightened the walls. Amara looked at her mother's face in the lamplight. "We will not bend for cruelty," she said. "We will bow to God and stand again." News travels in a village like wind through grass. By midweek, people knew the younger one was weaving, the mother was smiling more, and Master Okoro had found a student who cleaned his floor without being asked. Obi felt the shift like a stone in his shoe. He needed money for his big talk and bigger friends. He walked to the trader who loaned at high interest and put on his sweetest smile. "My sister is doing well in market," he said. "I will borrow in her name. She will pay quickly. We are one house." The trader's eyes were narrow. "Bring her to sign." "She is shy," Obi said. "But we are family." "Family is not a signature," the trader replied. "No face, no money." Obi left angry and tried the next stall, and the next. The same answer followed him like a stray dog, no signature, no loan. Word had already moved ahead of him. People had seen the stolen envelope. People remembered. He changed his plan. At the square, he pointed at Amara's mat and laughed loud. "See? My little sister makes floor covers now. Will she cover our shame too?" Ha! A few boys laughed with him. Most did not. Laughter that hurts sounds thin, it dies quickly. Auntie Chioma stepped out from behind her table and stood beside Amara without a word. Master Okoro, passing with a bundle of reed, nodded once and kept walking. Pastor Jonah sat on the bench by the almond tree and watched, quiet as a deep river. Obi felt something he had not felt in a long time, small. That night, he kicked a stool hard and broke its leg. "Useless thing," he muttered, though he knew it was his foot that had failed. At home, Amara checked the boxes in her notebook. 2 doormats, done. Chair repair, done. Cough syrup, tomorrow. She touched the envelope and smiled at her mother. "We are moving," she said. Mother Nkem squeezed her hand. "And God is walking with us." Outside, crickets scratched a steady song. Amara slept with the clean ache of honest work. Obi lay awake, eyes open, thinking of shortcuts that looked like bridges but were really holes in the ground. The morning broke hot and heavy. A strange silence sat on the yard, as if the air was waiting. Amara boiled water and set out 2 cups. Mother Nkem stepped from the room holding her chest. I am fine, she said before Amara could speak. Then the cough came, deep and tearing. She bent forward, and the cloth at her mouth bloomed red. The cup slipped from Amara's hand and broke on the floor. Mama, Amara whispered, catching her. She guided her to the mat and held her shoulders until the cough calmed. Fear moved through her body like cold water. We are going to the clinic. Now. Obi walked in, stretching and yawning as if it were just any day. He saw the broken cup and frowned. Who will buy another? You think cups grow on trees? Amara stood. Her voice was calm, but it had iron under it. Obi, get the cart. We are taking Mama to the clinic. He shrugged. Clinic needs money. Money needs me. What do you have? Amara lifted the mother money envelope from the box. I have enough for a visit and medicine. She tucked it inside her blouse. Help us, or step aside. Obi's jaw tightened. He looked at the door, then at their mother's pale face, and said nothing. Amara slipped her arm under Mother Nkem's and helped her to her feet. Lean on me, she said. We will move slowly, but we will move. Outside, Pastor Jonah was passing by. He saw their faces and ran to help, his Bible pressed under his arm like a tool. Together they walked the red road, each step a small prayer. At the clinic, a nurse with kind eyes took Mother Nkem inside. Wait here, she told Amara. You did right to come. The minutes were long. Amara sat on a wooden bench that creaked like worry. She counted the boards on the floor. She counted the breaths she took. She counted the ways God had carried them so far and would carry them again. The nurse returned with a list. Medication for 2 weeks, she said. Rest. Good soup. Less stress. Amara paid from the envelope with careful hands. On the way home, Mother Nkem smiled weakly. Daughter, you are strong. Amara shook her head. God is strong. I am just a rope he pulls with. At the gate, a tall figure waited in the road, Chief Azena, the village elder whose eyes missed nothing. He looked from Amara to the tired mother, then down at the reed fibers stuck to Amara's skirt. You, he said softly, bring your book in your hands to my porch this evening. I have seen your work. Amara nodded, hope rising like a small sun in her chest. Chief Azena's porch sat high, shaded by climbing vines. The evening light fell soft across the wooden floor like warm cloth. A pot of tea steamed between 2 stools. The chief's eyes were slow to blink and quick to see. He pointed to the chair opposite him. Sit. Amara set her little ledger on the table. The cover was neat. The corners were straight. She opened to the first page. Sales of mats, she said, tapping the lines. Reed costs. Nails. Glue. Payment to Master Okoro. This column is for the house. This one is mother money. Chief Azena listened without interrupting. When she finished, he turned the book around and read silently. He traced the numbers with a strong finger. The porch clock ticked. Somewhere a rooster argued with the dusk. Your lines are honest, he said at last. Your words are quiet. Quiet words carry far. I have watched your stall. I have watched your mother walk more slowly. I have also heard loud talk from your brother. Amara kept her eyes on the ledger. Obi wants to be seen, she said softly. I only want mother to rest and eat. The chief nodded. The chapel needs new seat tops. The school needs 2 repaired benches before term. I can give this work to many hands. I will give it to yours, small first. If you meet time and quality, we will order more. Her heart jumped. I will not fail. I like that you did not say, I cannot fail, he said. Pride says that. Steady people say, I will not. He poured tea, then looked toward the road. One more thing. I saw men with a tape measure near your mango grove. Be slow to speak. Be quick to gather paper. Land talks loud in courtrooms and quiet in rooms like this. Amara felt the porch boards under her feet like a promise. I will keep receipts. I will ask questions in daylight. Good, he said. Bring your first 2 bench tops in 7 days. Bring your ledger again. As she walked home, the moon was a clean slice above the neem tree. She passed the mango grove and stopped. The fence looked different, like someone had pressed a palm against it and bent it inward. She knelt and pushed a finger into soft soil. It sank deeper than expected. New dirt. Fresh hands. She stood, brushed the earth off her skirt, and looked up. Lord, she whispered, let truth be seen when it needs to be seen. Far away, a thin light shone in Obi's window. He bent over a small notebook, lips moving as he counted money that did not smell like sweat. He smiled, then snapped the book shut. The next day, Amara left early for reed and nails. On the path she met Chuka, Obi's restless friend. He always talked too fast and laughed at broken jokes. He carried a brown paper slip folded crooked. It fell when he waved at someone, and the wind nudged it toward Amara's feet. She picked it up and read one line before handing it back. Advance received, strip behind mango, balance after pegs. The name below was not Obi's. It was the buyer's. Chuka grabbed it, eyes sharp. Mind your road, girl, he said, stuffing the paper deep in his pocket. He walked away with shoulders too stiff for a casual man. Amara stood still. Her heart beat a little louder. She was not surprised, she was only sad. Secrets always made her feel tired. At the shed, Master Okoro watched her lay out tools. Your face is tight, he said. Untie it. There is a book in our house, Amara said. I think it holds ugly lines. I do not want to steal. I do not want to spy. But if light is truth, how do I open a window without breaking the wall? Master Okoro sharpened his knife slowly. Truth is not theft, he said, but it does not wear a mask. If you touch that book, do it like a clerk, copy, date, and leave it where you found it. Take nothing. Make no speech. Let paper speak when it must. That evening, when Obi went to the square, Amara swept the room. She dusted the window and straightened the shelf. The small black notebook was under a folded shirt. She did not look for long. She did not read every page. She opened to the place where the paper told her to look. Sale, strip behind mango. Advance on Tuesday. Balance when pegs stand. Mother not told. Her stomach tightened at those last 3 words. She copied 2 pages in her own small ledger, dates, amounts, names. She wrote copied on and the day's date. Then she returned the book to the exact spot, turned the shirt the way it had been, and stepped back. When Obi came home, he was in a proud mood and did not notice small things. He banged a pot, muttered about people who do not respect leaders, and went to his room. Amara sat with Mother Nkem and poured tea. Mama, she said, we will repair 2 benches for the school. The chief asked for them. We will be busy, but it is good work. Mother Nkem smiled. Work that feeds bodies and minds, she said. Both are needed. Amara nodded. She felt the weight of the copied lines in her small ledger. It was not heavy. It was firm. By midweek, talk bubbled like soup. Someone had seen pegs by the grove. Someone had heard Obi joke about cutting useless edges. Someone else said the path between compounds would shrink. People do not like their roads to shrink. Chief Azena rang the small iron bell at the square. Its tone was clear and thin. We will speak, he said, and then we will measure. Bring your papers. Leave your anger at home. Obi came with 2 friends. He stood tall, arms wide. I serve this village, he said. I keep our house. My sister has a loud circle. Do not be fooled. I make the real deals. Amara stood beside Auntie Chioma and Master Okoro. She held her ledger close and looked at the chief, not at Obi. When the chief nodded to her, she stepped forward. She did not accuse. She did not perform. She told a straight story in short lines. I sell mats. I repair benches. Here are my records. Here are dates. Here is mother money. Here is the clinic receipt. We are not begging. We are working. We are asking for respect. She opened to the copied pages and laid them on the table without comment. The chief read. He did not blink for a long time. He lifted his head and scanned the faces in the circle. Obi laughed. It sounded thin. Children copy numbers and think they are wise, he said. A house needs a strong head. I make moves to lift us. My sister tries to shame me because she is small. A murmur moved through the crowd. Pastor Jonah stood. We came to weigh facts, not to trade insults, he said gently. Let us hear from the buyer. The buyer stood back from the circle, near the shade. He cleared his throat. There was talk, he said. A small strip. Not the grove. A fair price. I have papers. The chief held out his hand. The buyer placed a roll of documents on his palm. The chief did not read them yet. Until lines are proved, he said, no pegs move, no fences change. Amara's earnings are her own. Obi will not touch what is not his. We meet again after rain. The ground will speak then. Obi's jaw worked. He held back words like a man holding a stubborn goat by the rope. People drifted away in pairs, voices low. The sky was heavy as wet wool. A wind ran through the square and shook dust off the leaves. That night, Obi's pride came to a boil. He was done with meetings. He wanted money he could hold. The village slept early. Clouds covered the moon like a shawl. Frogs called from the ditch. In the small house, Amara hid the mother money envelope under the floor mat, beneath a loose board, wrapped in old paper with scriptures in neat handwriting. She kissed her mother's forehead and blew out the lamp. Near midnight, the door hinge creaked. A shadow slid across the room. Obi moved like a cat, careful and mean. He lifted the corner of the mat with 2 fingers, soft as a thief in a story. His other hand reached for the board. Looking for snakes, a voice said from the doorway. It was Auntie Chioma. She held a lantern low, its light a small circle on the floor. Behind her stood 2 neighbors, the palm wine tapper, strong and quiet, and Mama and Duka, thin as a broomstick and twice as fierce. Obi froze. His voice came out rough. What are you doing in my house at night? What are you doing lifting your sister's mat? Mama and Duka shot back. We saw your friends circling earlier. We do not sleep when lanterns should be lit. Mother Nkem sat up, breath tight. Obina, she said in a steady voice, leave that board. Obi's hand shook. He let the mat fall. I was checking for mice. Then bring a trap, not a pocket, Auntie Chioma said. Pastor Jonah appeared at the door, called by the quiet alarm that moves neighbor to neighbor. He set his Bible on the table and spoke softly. We will not fight in the dark. We will pray. Then we will wait for morning. They formed a small circle around the sleeping mat. Words rose like warm steam. The storm that had held itself back all day finally came. Rain thudded hard on the roof. The wind pushed at the shutters. In that noise, old worries tried to climb onto Amara's back. She breathed slow. She pictured the porch clock, the elders' eyes, the 2 bench tops waiting to be woven in the shed. Obi stood at the wall, jaw tight, eyes burning with shame and anger. But there is a kind of fire that cannot live in wet air. Little by little, his shoulders dropped. When the rain eased, the neighbors went home. Pastor Jonah closed the door and touched the Bible with his fingertips. Morning will tell the truth, he said. Sleep. Amara lay back on the mat, her body buzzing like a struck bell. The roof dripped in 3 places like a slow song. In the gray light before sunrise, the storm would leave a gift in the mud. An old truth washed clean and ready to be read. The rain did not stop at once. It softened and thickened, like porridge left too long on the fire. Thunder walked away, grumbling to itself. The house smelled like damp wood and hope. Amara changed the buckets catching leaks and sat with Mother Nkem. Are you in pain? She asked. I am in peace, Mother Nkem said. I am tired, but my heart is quiet. God sits in our doorway tonight. Amara closed her eyes. She pictured a calm figure seated on their step, not letting fear or trouble enter. She felt sleep pull at her in soft waves. Before dawn, the chapel bell rang 3 slow times, prayer watch. A light moved past the window. Pastor Jonah again. He did not knock, only paused and whispered a blessing into the quiet air, then went on to the next house. Amara drifted and woke, drifted and woke. Each time she woke, she spoke one line to steady herself: truth is a patient river. It reaches the sea. At first light, the rain fell away like a curtain being drawn. The world looked new and old at once. Mud made mirrors in the yard. Leaves shone. The mango grove held drops like beads. Rest, Amara told her mother. I will go check the grove. She pulled on her sandals and walked the soft ground. The small fence had slumped in the night like a tired guard. At the base of the oldest mango tree, water had cut a little channel. It had washed away the topsoil and revealed something that was not root or rock. Amara knelt. Her fingers touched metal, rusted tin. Her heart jumped the way a bird jumps when it finds a seed in a dry season. She dug with both hands and pulled up a narrow tin box with a dented lid. The latch had failed long ago. The rain had worked it open. Inside were folded papers wrapped in oilcloth, a worn map with hand-drawn lines, an old deed with her grandfather's name, and a letter in careful writing, boundaries set by promise, southern strip held for daughter Nkem's use. No sale without her word. Amara sat back on her heels. The world seemed very still. Somewhere a hen fussed over her chicks. Somewhere a pot lid clinked. She closed the box, stood, and looked up through the leaves. Thank you, she whispered. We asked for a window. You gave us a door. She held the tin close and walked toward the house, leaving soft prints in the bright, wet earth. Amara laid the tin on the table like a found treasure. Mother Nkem touched the edge with trembling fingers. Your grandfather, she whispered. He loved promises more than fences. Amara unwrapped the oilcloth and laid out the papers. The map's ink had faded to a soft brown. The deed bore clean stamps and a careful script. The letter was simple and strong: no sale without Nkem's word. Did you know? Amara asked. Mother Nkem shook her head. I knew he spoke to me under the mango tree when I was young and soon to marry. He said some land is not soil, it is a promise. But I never saw a paper. Amara copied a list of the document names and dates into her ledger. She folded the deed back into oilcloth, slid it into the tin, and tied the box with cloth strip. We will take these to Chief Izena. We will bring witnesses. At Master Okoro's shed, she told the story in quick, measured words. The master rubbed his beard and nodded. Water keeps a truth until a day of need, he said. We will go with you. Auntie Chioma closed her stall early. Let the peppers wait, she said. Justice first, soup later. Pastor Jonah met them at the square with his Bible tucked under one arm and a small notebook under the other. I write what is said, he told the chief. Words are strong, written words are stronger. On the porch, Amara placed the tin on the table and stepped back. Chief Izena opened each paper slowly, eyes taking in lines and stamps, not hurrying, not delaying. He held the letter up to the light. Ink is old, he said. But oilcloth kept it honest. Obi stood off to the side, face tight. The buyer stood behind him, eyes flicking from the tin to the chief and back again. Call the measuring men, the chief said. Bring the old map. We will walk the line with new pegs. They walked to the grove, a quiet parade moving over wet earth. The chief set the old map on a flat board. The men stretched string, tested distances, and found markers in places only grandfathers remember: a stone with a nail head, a stump with a scar, a bend where the ground dips then lifts. When they finished, the string made a shape that matched the old ink. The southern strip sat inside the promise. No sale without Nkem's word, the chief read again, voice low and even. He looked at Obi, then at the buyer. Did she give it? Neither spoke. The buyer cleared his throat. I was told she knew, he said, not meeting the chief's eyes. Chief Azena held up his hand. We will finish this on the porch. They gathered again on the porch with the papers between them like a small fire that warmed the room. The chief folded his hands on the table. We will speak one by one, he said. We will not shout. We will not hide. Pastor, write. Master, watch. Chioma, listen. Amara stood first. I found the tin after the flood, she said. I did not know about it. I copied what I could into my ledger so there would be more than one record. My request is simple: respect my mother's right. Let my earnings be mine. Let the house be fed. Mother Nkem nodded, lips pressed together to keep in tears that were not sadness. Obi lifted his chin. I am the elder, he said. I carry the name. Names open doors. I made a deal to strengthen us. I meant no harm. Meaning walks behind action, Auntie Chioma said softly. The buyer stepped forward. I saw a chance, he admitted. I should have asked the mother. I trusted the elder too quickly. I am ready to step back if the chief says so. Chief Azena turned to Pastor Jonah. Read the letter again. The pastor read, boundary set by promise. Southern strip held for daughter Nkem's use. No sale without her word. The chief looked at Obi, and his voice sharpened like a knife cleaned on a stone. You knew your mother had not spoken. You took an advance. You planned pegs. You mocked your sister in the square. You reached for her mat at night. Obi's shoulders sagged then re-stiffened. We are hungry, he said. Hunger pushes a man. Then you should have pushed a plow, Master Okoro said, not unkindly. The chief leaned back. Here is my order. The buyer will receive his advance back from the elder brother, who took it. The sale is void. The strip remains under Nkem's word. Until further notice, Amara controls her earnings. Obi controls nothing in this matter. Any hand reaching for what is not his will face the council. He lifted a small gavel and tapped the table once. The sound was not loud. It was final. Obi opened his mouth, then closed it. He looked at Mother Nkem. For the first time in many months, his eyes refused to meet hers. As people drifted down the steps, Pastor Jonah touched Amara's shoulder. Courage is not a shout, he said. It is a steady breath. Amara exhaled. The air felt new in her chest. The next day, the porch became a counting room. A big brass scale sat on the table, polished by years of hands. Chief Azena placed 2 flat stones on one side and small iron weights on the other to test balance. It's settled true. Bring your books, he said. The buyer laid down receipts for the advance. Obi brought nothing. He crossed his arms. My head carries numbers, he said. Then your mouth will carry them onto the page, the chief answered. He handed Pastor Jonah a pen. Speak the sums. Obi tried to float his words like leaves, but the pastor's pen was a small anchor. Date, scratch. Amount, scratch. Witness, pause, scratch. The more he spoke, the more bare his story became. There were holes where there should have been nails. Amara opened her ledger when asked, never more. She showed the clinic receipt, the read costs, the school bench order, and the mother money envelope log. Master Okoro added his apprentice notes. Auntie Chioma added a simple list of the small loans from the women's circle and what had already been repaid. Mama and Duka walked up with her broom and laughed. If truth were dust, we have swept it into neat piles, she said. When the chief finished, he set the pen down and lifted his eyes to the yard where half the village had gathered. Here is the measure, he said. Obi took an advance that was not his to take. He moved to shift a line that was not his to move. He tried to seize night money. He is removed from decisions of land and house funds. He will repay the buyer from his own labor. He will repair the fence he weakened. He will attend a work crew 3 days each week for the chapel and school until the debt is cleared. He turned to Amara. You will continue your craft. You will fill the school order and, if done well, take a new one. You will keep your records clean. If anyone troubles you, call me with your ledger in hand. To the buyer, he said, take your advance back in parts from the elder. Be patient. You stepped on this road willingly. He tapped the gavel. The porch held a breath. Then quiet talk rose like gentle rain. Obi stood very still. He looked smaller, but not broken, only heavy, like a sack finally set down that left a mark on the shoulder. He turned away, jaw tight. Mother Nkem let out a long breath she had held for many months. She leaned on Amara just a little, the way a tree leans on its own strong roots. Amara did not smile for the crowd. She closed her ledger and held it close. Underscore 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 underscore. The porch became quiet after the chief's ruling, but quiet is not the end of a story. It is a hallway. Amara stood in that hallway and chose her next door. Chief Azena asked, do you want punishment or repair? Repair, Amara said. Firm, clear, written. No shame theater. But no more harm. The chief nodded. Mercy with teeth. He called for the big ledger the council used for farm labor and road work. Pastor Jonah opened it to a clean page and dipped his pen. Name? Obina, the chief said, eyes steady. Work days, 3 each week for chapel steps and school fence. Debt to buyer, 30 equal parts from wages. Boundary fence, rebuild by month's end. Hands off house earnings. Any reach breaks the agreement and adds days. Obi stared at the ground. His mouth pressed into a hard line. And if I refuse? Then you stand alone before the council, the chief replied, and the buyer seeks you in court. Choose your road. Obi said nothing. But his shoulders fell a little, like a goat that finally feels the rope. Auntie Chioma touched Amara's elbow. You asked for the right thing, she whispered. You kept the house safe and kept your heart clean. Master Okoro cleared his throat. Girl, he said, bring your first 2 bench tops in 3 days, not 7. Show the chief our words were not just air. I will, Amara answered. The promise warmed her like tea. At home, Amara opened her small ledger and wrote across a fresh page, mercy, boundaries, work. Under it she listed her own tasks, finish school benches, repair 3 chairs, buy medicine on Sunday, add to mother money, paint the bedroom corner before the rains return. She drew little boxes and smiled. Boxes want to be checked. Mother Nkem sat by the window where the light is kind. Are we safe? She asked softly. We are safer than yesterday, Amara said. And tomorrow we will be safer than today. Obi walked past the door, silent. He looked thinner in the evening light. Pride eats a man's food and leaves him hungry. He did not look in. He kept walking. Night came early with soft rain. The roof tapped a slow song. Amara mended reed by lamplight, each pull a prayer. Mercy with teeth, she whispered. Yes, Lord. Let our house grow strong. Morning light spilled over Master Okoro's bench like clean water. Amara set the frame and checked for wobble. No wobble, she said. No splinter. She pulled reed under and over, until the pattern lay tight and even. When she pressed the center with her palm, it held like a promise. Good, Master Okoro said, not smiling but proud in his eyes. Carry them. They walked to the school compound with the bench tops on their heads. Children leaned from windows to look. A teacher came out and ran his fingers over the weave. This will not catch uniforms, he said. Thank you. Chief Izena met them by the steps. He sat, tested the strength once, then stood. Order more, he told the teacher. And mark this craft as village work. When other schools ask, they will come here. Amara wrote the new order in her ledger with neat lines. The page felt like a small field ready for planting. She paid for reed, set aside payment for Master Okoro, and pressed 2 notes into the mother money envelope. Then she bought fish, carrots, and a little salt. At home the soup pot woke, and a sweet smell filled the room. Drink, she told Mother Nkem. Not too fast. They painted the dark bedroom corner with leftover white the chief had sent from the chapel store. The wall changed from shadow to quiet light. It felt like somebody had opened a window that was never there before. Neighbors drifted in with light hands. Mama and Duka brought dried peppers. The palm wine tapper fixed the loose hinge. A girl from next door sang while she swept. Amara wrote every gift and favor in her ledger, not to owe, but to remember. At market, Amara repaid the last of Auntie Chioma's small loan. She added a woven mat as a thank you. For your stall, Amara said. Auntie Chioma laughed. It will catch my coins before they roll away. She folded the mat like a treasure and slid it under the table. At the chapel, Pastor Jonah pinned a small notice. Harvest Festival, 2 weeks. Bring first fruits, stories of mercy, and clean work. He looked at Amara. Will you bring a bench top and a word? Amara's breath hitched. A word? Just one, the pastor said. The right one, at the right time. Amara walked home in the soft gold of evening. Obi stood under the mango tree, hands in pockets, eyes on the ground. He could not move. She did not stop. She carried soup and paint smell and the weight of a good day. Obi reported to the chapel yard because the ledger said so and because the chief's eyes were not a thing to test. Work crew men waited with shovels, sand, stone, and a rope to straighten lines. The foreman, a lean man with a quiet voice, handed Obi a shovel. Steps first, he said. Sand, water, mix. Obi gripped the handle like it had insulted him. His palms were soft from markets and boasting. The shovel cut, rose, fell. Sweat found his eyes. The foreman did not raise his voice, but the rope of order held Obi in place. By midday, a blister swelled on Obi's thumb, then another near his finger joint. He gritted his teeth and kept moving. He thought of the friends who clapped his back at the square. None came to clap here. Pride is a loud drum. Work is a steady bell. At the school fence, he lifted posts and felt the weight along his shoulders. Children watched from the classroom like birds at a window. One boy whispered, "Is that the man who shouts in the market?" Another said, "He is carrying wood now." The teacher hushed them, but Obi heard. He kept his eyes down. In the evening, the buyer met him at the square. "First payment," the man said, not unkind. "The chief's ledger says you worked." Obi counted out notes with sore fingers. Each note felt like a small piece of hard bread. He handed them over and swallowed anger he could not afford. Back home, he hovered near the door, as if his shadow wanted to enter but his feet did not. Inside, he heard a spoon touch a bowl, a gentle laugh, a cough that was softer now. Amara's voice rose. Low, steady, like a river talking to stones. He turned away and went to sleep in a friend's back room where the mat was thin and the air was not kind. Days stacked. Work stacked. Payment stacked. The fence line rose true, tighter than Obi's own choices had ever been. At night he soaked his hands in cool water and thought about nothing, because thinking hurt more than blisters. One evening, the chief sent a message: Harvest Festival, final accounting after the songs. Obi's stomach dropped. Final accounting meant no more hiding places. It meant the porch, again, but with more eyes and fewer excuses. He lay flat, stared at the ceiling, and for the first time in a long while, felt small without fighting it. The festival would carry 2 baskets, thanks and truth, and both would be heavy in different ways. While Obi's blisters spoke to him, the little house learned to breathe again. Amara washed the curtains and pinned them in the sun. She beat dust from the mats and set fresh ones by the door. She trimmed the lamp wick so the flame burned even. Small things become big when a house has been hungry. The choir practiced under the almond tree for the harvest festival. Their song rose and fell like hills. Great is your faithfulness, morning by morning, mercies I see, Amara hummed while she wove, and the reed moved smoother, as if it liked the tune. Mother Nkem's color returned little by little, like dawn walking across a room. She ate the soup slowly, then asked for a piece of bread. She napped in the cool hour and woke with a smile that reached her eyes. Your hands are medicine, she told Amara. God is medicine, Amara said. My hands just carry it. Pastor Jonah stopped by with a basket from the women's circle, yam, onions, palm oil, and a small bag of salt. He set it down and looked around. This room is new, he said. The paint helped, Amara answered, touching the bright corner. So did the soup. Will you speak a short word at the festival? He asked again. Amara nodded this time. Yes. I will bring a bench top, and I will bring a word. Chief Izena visited near sunset. He stepped in, removed his hat, and stood like a tree that found a good spot. We will be closing accounts at the festival, he said. Your books are clean. Hold them ready. Also, the school adds 2 more benches to your order. Amara wrote that down and added a small box to check later. Thank you, sir. He looked toward the road. Your brother is working, he said. Work is a good teacher. Some lessons are slow, Amara replied. She did not say it with heat. She said it like a weather report. That night, the choir came to their door and sang one verse soft, then left as quickly as they came. The house felt like it had just been hugged by a song. Amara tucked a clean shawl around her mother's shoulders and blew out the lamp. Rest, she said. Tomorrow we gather. Tomorrow we give thanks. The harvest festival spread across the field like a bright cloth. Stalls offered roasted corn, plantain, puff-puff, and sweet groundnut cakes that stuck to your fingers and made you lick them clean. Children ran with ribbons tied to sticks. Men lifted baskets of yam high, women walked with trays of fruit and smiles that made the sun look small. On a low stage, the choir filled the morning with harmony. The chief opened with a prayer for rain in the right season and peace in hard ones. Then he called 4 works of the village. Amara carried a finished bench top to the stage. It caught the light and threw it back in quiet lines. She set it down and wiped her hands on her wrapper. The crowd murmured approval. A word, Pastor Jonah whispered. Amara took the small wooden bird he used as a pointer and held it like a microphone. One line, she said, steady. Cruelty breaks a house. Kindness builds it. God lifted our home with simple work and steady friends. She put the bird down. The crowd clapped, not loud like thunder, but long like rain on a tin roof. Auntie Chioma stepped forward next. This child paid her seed and returned with fruit, she said, lifting a mat Amara had gifted. Let us keep her path clear. Then came the ledgers. Chief Azena stood at the table, Pastor Jonah at his side with the council book open. Final accounting, the chief announced. School benches, accepted. Payment authorized. Women's circle loans, repaid. He nodded toward Auntie Chioma, who smiled like a warm pot. He turned a page. Obina, he said. The field quieted. Work days, met. Fence, rebuilt. First payments to buyer, received and recorded. But, the words sat heavy. 2 days were missed without cause. Interest added. Status, continued labor until full repayment. Further, removed from any family decisions for 1 full year. Barred from speaking for others in market. Any attempt to borrow in another's name will bring council fine. A low sound rolled through the crowd, part relief, part warning. Obi stood at the edge of the field like a tree cut back to a stump. His friends hung back, quiet. Pride is not a good companion at harvest. Amara turned her face to the music, not to her brother. She lifted her hands once, not high, just enough to show thanks. The choir rose into a joyful chorus. Children danced. The chief tapped the gavel once, twice, like a drum. After the songs and baskets, the chief called for silence. One last matter, he said, voice even. A house is not only walls. It is words. Obina, come. Obi walked forward, eyes down. The crowd parted the way a stream parts around a stone. He climbed the small steps and stood not far from the bench top Amara had woven. The chief did not hand him a microphone. He handed him a small paper. Read, the chief said. Obi swallowed. His voice came out rough at first, then smoother. I, Obina, admit I took an advance without my mother's word. I tried to move a boundary. I reached for money that was not mine. I will repay what I owe. I will keep my hands off my sister's work. I will honor my mother. I asked the village for space to learn decency again. He set the paper down. Look at your mother, the chief said. Obi turned. Mother Nkem sat near the front, shawl neat, eyes wet but strong. The field was so quiet Amara could hear the wings of a bird passing overhead. Obi's mouth trembled. Mama, he said, I have behaved like a stranger in my own house. I am sorry. Mother Nkem did not rush her answer. She let the words find the right place to sit. I receive your apology, she said at last. Respect is not a speech. It is a habit. Build it. Obi nodded once. He stepped down and walked toward the work crew line without looking left or right. Friends he used to impress suddenly had errands. Pride left him standing alone, and for the first time he did not chase it. Pastor Jonah lifted the wooden bird pointer again. Let today be a plow, he said gently. Let it cut old ground so new seed can find soil. Amara did not go to Obi. Mercy is not always a hug. She picked up a small gourd of water and a clean towel and placed them on the edge of the work table. If he was thirsty, he would find them. The sun slid lower. Shadows stretched long and thin like threads being pulled toward evening. Drums picked up a softer beat. The last week moved like a steady cart over a good road. Obi showed up for work without being chased. He carried stone for the chapel steps, mixed sand and water until the shovel felt like an extension of his arm, and set each block with care. When a blister tore, he wrapped it and kept going. The foreman nodded once. Learning. At the school, Amara delivered the final bench tops. Children slid onto them and laughed at how smooth they felt. The teacher signed the paper with a big loop and shook Amara's hand like he was greeting the future. "Bring 2 more next term," he said. Amara hired a small helper from Master Okoro's list, a shy girl with quick eyes and careful fingers. "We will pay you each Friday," Amara said. "We will teach you to keep a ledger and a clean floor." At home, the bedrooms smelled like fresh paint and clean sheets. The pot on the hearth did not scrape the bottom anymore. Mother Nkem's cough had become the soft kind again, the kind that said, "I am healing." She sat by the window and trimmed loose threads from mats with tiny scissors, smiling at the neatness as they fell. One afternoon, Chief Azena walked up the path with a folded document under his arm. He sat on the step and watched dust drift in the sunlight like gold powder. "We have recorded the Grove Promise at the clerk's," he said. "Your mother's right is written in new ink now. No one moves it without her voice." Amara took the paper in both hands. "Thank you," she said. The words felt too small for the feeling, but truth does not need fancy clothes. Evening came. The choir's song from festival day drifted in memory. Amara wiped the porch rail and set the old lamp in its place. She cleaned the glass, filled the bowl, and lit the wick. The flame rose, wavered once, then burned steady, throwing warm light across the step. Footsteps sounded on the road. Obi stopped at the gate, hat in his hands. He did not enter. He looked at the new fence line, the painted wall, the steady lamp, and the shape of his mother in the window. His face softened and folded like a map put away. "Good night," he said, voice quiet. "Good night," Amara answered. She did not invite him in. Boundaries keep houses whole. Mother Nkem touched her daughter's wrist. "From cruelty to comfort," she whispered, tears bright but happy. "God did it." Amara leaned her head on her mother's shoulder and watched the lamp glow. The bell at the chapel rang once, twice, like a heart remembering its rhythm. The road outside lay clean. The house inside breathed easy. And for the first time in a long time, they slept with the door closed and the light left on, because safety had come home and decided to stay.